Welcome to Cryptic Accounts, a podcast by paranoid people for paranoid people. I'm Patrick Ryan. This week on the show, we'll be covering alien moonwalkers, planet-sized UFOs, and Borg cubes. I'm joined by Dennis Janey. Hi, Dennis.
Hello, we got a hodgepodge this time.
It is a hodgepodge. To be completely honest, it was my birthday this past week, so I did not put in the level of research time that I normally would for this show.
You're not supposed to say that.
No, well, you're going to figure it out quick because it's not one subject. Like, I've got a few things that they're basically ideas of things I wanted to look into, and I don't know that they could be full real. I mean, they could fall into they could fall into other things, but any of these aren't going to be their own like normal show length topic.
You had me at aliens on the moon.
So yeah, I figured I would just bring some of these stories that I've just kind of been looking at going, what is going on here? This is going to be fun, though. It's going to be good. It's going to be right up your... I know you're going to enjoy it because it's some weird alien stuff. And you're always down.
I want you to give it a little less more often then.
To be honest, when I say that, I did not have the energy and to spend the time on a full-on government conspiracy like I normally do. Those take a little bit of time to put together because there's generally a lot to them. And these are generally stories that frustrate me because I don't feel like I can build a big enough episode out of them. So,
I believe in you either way.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for us. If you're on iTunes, rate us, review us. We'd appreciate it. Keep on telling your friends. And yeah, I think I'm ready to get into this. Let's talk about some alien stuff, Dennis. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm just a hodgepodge of alien stuff.
Yeah, I want to kind of set the table because 2020 has kind of been an interesting year for UFOs, along with everything else that's been going on. So we're going to start out in New York City. This was coming out at the end of September. Stargazers have reported a huge increase of unidentified flying objects seen in the state. Already as of September 25th, there were 184 unexplained flying crafts or lights seen in the state that have been logged with the National UFO Reporting Center.
Interesting.
In all of 2019, there were only 151 reported.
It's because we're getting out, man. It's COVID.
I mean, how do you think?
Things are quiet. I don't know.
I just feel like,
there's less distractions.
Maybe people are outside more in their backyard. It just seemed like I've been inside more this year, but I don't know.
Like I've taken a lot more walks. It might be, it might also be that the plan's coming together.
That's also possible too.
It's increasing.
That's very possible too.
I think this is nationwide, by the way. I think nationwide. I know this story is about New York City, but I think overall we're like surpassing our previous.
Yeah, I don't know if I included those numbers or not, but yeah, nationwide the numbers are up pretty dramatically. Like there's something, either just more people are noticing it or there is an uptick of things that are happening.
Right.
So these sightings include bright lights, strange sounds, and oddly shaped objects. A person in Staten Island gave a terrifying description of a burning sensation following a sighting. Quote, "And that's when I felt this heat, like feeling going through my body," they reported, "starting in my head like some sort of radiation, burning me like a frying pan, or burning me like frying me. And that's when I realized it was the craft."
That's pretty typical.
Wow.
For people who get near. Did this guy get like near the craft, or
they weren't real specific? I mean, it sounds like he was pretty close though.
I remember your guy in the police officer we did an episode
the Minnesota
about.
One, the 1979 story.
He got burnt.
Yeah, I mean, there was burning on the car. Yeah, there was a lot of there's something going on with that. There does seem to be burning that happens.
It's like radiation.
Yeah, I would assume that's what it is.
They always burn like where they land too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So others were actually less disturbing in the state, though. Another person said, "We were on top of rooftop viewing the Perseids when the glowing green UFO passed directly overhead at a low altitude, followed by what sounded like a military craft. The green lights were revolving in a figure eight as the craft moved quickly from east to west towards Manhattan. The military aircraft that appeared to follow it was very loud.
Oh, that's always weird. That's a common thing too. They get followed. It's like, are they being escorted or just?
I think it's not that. I mean, I get it. If you're out, it seems like the times were like when we did the Needles crash, um, the helicopter showed up relatively quickly, but there was nothing following that thing. It's like they knew it was going to crash. So that almost seemed like I always kind of thought. I think we talked about it on that episode. That maybe that was something they were testing, so they were kind of aware of what was going on.
I wonder that too, with like the Black Triangle crafts, if those aren't like test crafts, because they're generally always followed by helicopters. And I'm like, I don't think a UFO would just let you follow. You know what I mean? Like when we talk about Nimitz and stuff, we're barely trying to keep up with them. But then with some of these crafts, it's like they're being directly followed by like black helicopters, and it's like that feels like a rescue team. If something goes wrong,
when it's got like an F-16 or whatever chasing it, I think that's they're trying to figure out what something is. I mean, we don't know what this craft was, but a craft that can keep up with something moving fast like that and is loud, it to me sounds like a jet,
right?
Some sort of a jet. And then in that case, I wouldn't assume that that's a like helpful thing. Also, what's that F-16 going to do if there's a problem with that craft they're testing?
Right.
The helicopter makes sense. The helicopters make sense. The SUVs make sense. This sounds like something different. So back to your point, nationwide, there have been thousands of witness accounts of UFOs submitted to the center this year. UFO hunting has been a popular pursuit in the United States since the mid 20th century, as we've talked about some. I don't think we've actually talked about Kenneth Arnold directly, though.
We've never done him straight up.
He was the businessman pilot who was in a small plane, and he filed the well-known report in 1947 of a UFO over Mount Rainier in Washington. Arnold claimed he saw 9 high-speed crescent-shaped objects zooming along at several thousand miles per hour, like saucers skipping on the water, he said.
Yep.
Although, go ahead.
Oh no, that's where flying saucer comes from.
Yeah, that was actually the next point I was going to make.
Oh,
okay. So although the objects Arnold claimed to see weren't saucer-shaped at all, his analogy led to the popularization of the term flying saucers. And since then, Americans have been more or less obsessed with the idea that an alien life is among us. So it may be easy to scoff at some of the eyewitness accounts on the National UFO Reporting Center, but the idea of an intergalactic travel got a boost when information emerged from the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, which is a $22 million multi-year program that began in 2007 to investigate unidentified aerial phenomena. And that's according to the New York Times and Politico.
It's legit.
Yeah. So now former Nevada Democrat Senator Harry Reid slipped in an earmark for the program into the Pentagon budget. Nevada, of course, is the home of a U.S. Air Force facility known as Area 51. Another thing we haven't really fully talked about yet, but we're going to at some point.
Never did a full up Area 51, yeah.
It's the source of multiple alien conspiracy theories, including claims that interstellar visitors are held there, that the 1947 Roswell crash wasn't a weather balloon at all, but a Soviet aircraft that was flown by mutated little people. Which I hadn't actually heard that theory. That's why I included it. I'm like, I have never heard that the Roswell crash was little Russians who were like genetically mutated.
I have heard that one, yeah.
I have not. And I almost went off on an Area 51 Roswell tangent.
Psyops.
And it was like, nope, I don't got time for that. So that one I'm gonna definitely, I think I personally want to dig into that at some point. It's also claimed that the 1969 moon landing was filmed by the U.S. government in one of the Area 51 hangars, which I did know that one. Which we're maybe we'll do a moon landing one at some point. I feel like it's just all over the place with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I err on the side that we went to the moon, but
It seems like it because let's not get bogged down in it right now.
all right.
The Pentagon program was defunded in 2012, so that was the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. So it goes from 2007 to 2012. But in a report released in late 2017, so 5 years later, the investigators detailed an account by retired Navy Commander David Fravor, who was conducting a training mission off the coast of California in 2004 when he saw an oblong craft flying erratically through his airspace at incredible speed, maneuvering in a way that defies accepted principles of aerodynamics. Fravor described the wingless object about 40 feet long and shaped like a tic tac, and as otherworldly. He said, quote, "I can tell you, I think it was not from this world," he told ABC News in 2017. "I'm not crazy, haven't been drinking. It was, after 18 years of flying, I've seen pretty much everything that I can see in that realm, and this was nothing close." Fravor's account is convincing. When he saw the object from the air, controllers on one of the Navy ships on the water below reported that objects were being dropped about 80,000 feet from the sky, then headed straight back up. He could see the disturbances of the water below breaking the waves of the surface, like something under the surface, he told ABC. The radar jammed, and as Fravor flew closer, the craft rapidly accelerated and zoomed upward and disappeared. Once the object was gone, the ocean below was a still sheet of blue with no evidence of disturbance. Infrared scanning also showed no evidence of an exhaust trail. "I don't know what it is," he says. "I don't know what I saw. I just know it was really impressive, really fast, and I would like to fly it."
Yeah, and those are the Nimitz sightings.
Yeah, those are the Nimitz sightings. We covered that. Well, I covered that. That was very early on, I think, in the third episode.
Well, so far so good, Patrick.
So, I mean, the Nimitz was crazy, and we've talked about this, but you and me have never actually talked about it on the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most convincing UFO footage I've ever seen.
It really is, from some of the most credible people.
Yeah, it's from straight up the military, just filming and tracking these objects. You can see them do maneuvers. You can see them shoot. It's proof, basically. Unless China has a UFO, you know what I mean? Like, which I never believe that. I never believe when they say it's another country. If anyone has it, it's our breakaway CIA secret NSA like government. Like, if it's humans at all, it's us, or maybe Nazis. I don't know, but it's not China.
Not gonna rule out the Nazis as possibly still being at play on this, huh?
Not ruling out the Nazis in South America / Antarctica.
Well, I mean, I can't fault you on it. We could get in at some point. I want to talk about like the possibilities of what happened to all the Nazis at the end of World War II, because there's some good theories on different places they went and what they did, and then there's some pretty crazy ones out there about what happened to them.
Yeah, we should do a couple episodes on that.
We could probably do multiple episodes on that. It could definitely be a multi-parter like the Freemasons one.
I think it's more or less proven. Maybe I'll take this from you, but I think it's more or less proven that some of them escaped to Argentina. I think that's just a fact.
Oh, that's definitely true. I believe that wholeheartedly, and I think there's evidence that supports that.
Yeah, I think there's literally like people they found, and so, but I always thought it was weird. It's just Hitler didn't seem like a guy who would quit.
Yeah,
seemed to quit. Also, I heard that when the Russians found his bone, now we're on a Hitler.
Yeah, I was just saying, man. Don't...
But okay, we'll do it. Yeah, well, that'll be a whole other episode.
But yeah, no, it's some weird stuff. Nimitz was back to Nimitz, and yeah, that's some crazy stuff. Go back and listen to that episode. Google the what is it? The
Tic Tac, USS Nimitz.
Yeah,
any of those,
and it'll come up.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk to you about one of the most interesting things I've found on the internet. in the last couple weeks.
You're just on a alien kick. I love
I
it.
I really am. Evidence of an alien base on the moon that NASA is hiding from us, Dennis. That's what I want to talk about next. I'm not burying.
NASA.
So
you're not bearing the lead.
Yeah, no, I'm not, because like I read this article because like I mean this is from a few years ago, so like all this stuff is gone. I looked up these coordinates, like this isn't what you can find anymore. But luckily, there were a bunch of places on the internet that still had these images. So, I mean, you can describe this first image that you're looking at a little bit, Dennis. Tell me what
looks like a bipedal humanoid figure walking on the moon. Casting a shadow.
Yes, I was hoping you would notice the shadow, and that it seems to coincide pretty well with what's going on there. I mean, we obviously don't know the angle of the sun, but it looks real.
Well, whatever. I guess a lot of things probably don't change on the moon, just like a lot of things probably don't change on Mars. So I would say that if you can't find this thing anymore, that's pretty suspicious, because that's definitely some sort of, whether it's a rock or something, it's definitely like a structure or a thing. I mean, it's not an optical illusion. There's something there.
There's something there. I have another picture as well that I'm going to show you. Because I don't think this is a moon rock. And it's not an astronaut like out for an adventure. Like I don't think this is like a classified mission. This is just, I think, an alien on the surface of the moon.
Who took this picture? Do you know? It's from Google Moon, or what? Like, what's this from?
It was I found it. There was a UFO website that was reporting on it, and I found a couple different places that reported on it. But this was the most prevalent, I guess.
Okay. I mean, that looks like something walking.
Yes.
And I'm usually a huge skeptic about pictures like this.
And I couldn't find anything to discredit it either. Like, with it being a few years old, I looked around for, did anybody find a way to call this? Like, as this is fake, here's why. And I did not find anything.
He's just out walking around on the moon.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it looks like. One commenter that I really liked when I was looking through all this went by Mr. Smith. I'm assuming that's probably not his real name. Commented this year, "It is an alien and not a man. I have measured his height, and he is 150 meters tall, as well as others I have found there."
We need to get Mr. Smith on the show.
I know. I need to figure out how to contact him. I need to go back and probably leave a message on that board like, "Hey, man, you want to do a podcast? Come tell me about these
150 meters, man. That's an Anunnaki, dude. That's
what I mean. On the moon.
Yeah.
On the moon. Like,
hanging out.
So you can see this next picture. This is more blown up and zoomed out to get a better look at what's going on in the general terrain. Which there it does look it does look like more of something less than what it is. I don't know though. The shadow becomes more convincing for me.
So the image credit is NASA.
Yes.
So this is a NASA photograph.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't say that. Yeah. This originally came from NASA and was posted by Google. Like, this was on Google Moon. I apologize. Yeah, I should have clarified.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, obviously if you zoom out, it becomes harder to see what's
up.
But the thing is that shadow, man, it looks like it's casting a shadow.
And look, you can look down at the next one, and it looks like a slightly different angle on it.
Yeah, that's weird.
And again, looks like something with definitively two legs.
Two legs and like a head. And
there's a head and there's some shoulders. It's kind of hard to tell like what's going on arm-wise, but I would assume two arms.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely something, man. Yeah, it's anomalous to say the least.
So, and I think I don't know if we've talked about it on the show at all, like, but I know you and me have talked about the amount of weird machinery looking stuff that's just on the surface of the moon.
Yeah.
like gears and stuff like that aren't like on top of it, that look like something that's crashed in the last 50 years, like something we discarded in our travels. Like it's stuff that's buried like in moon, like into the surface of the moon, and that seems like, and it looks like it's been there for a longer span of time.
Yeah, you've shown me some stuff that it does look like someone's messed around on the moon before.
Yeah, I mean, and you really can't get much better than it being on Google Moon, a Google Moon image, with the coordinates to the obvious looking entity just going about its business. Like you could essentially look this up at the time. I did try and look in the same spot. I didn't see it now. So whatever's happened's been resolved several years later. Somebody figured out what was going on.
See, that bothers me more because it's obviously something casting a shadow. So, like, my skeptic brain wants to say, okay, well, it's just a weird rock formation or something but then, like, why would it not be there anymore?
That's why I was looking.
Nothing's happening on the moon, man. Like, nobody's going around the moon. Like,
that's what I mean. That's why I found it. That's kind of what really made me want to talk about this, because I'm like, it's weirder that we can't see this now. If this is just a normal thing that's there, it shouldn't have moved.
and we should give credit wherever you found the story because I don't know how much more stuff you're getting into, but we've talked about this before, and there's like a pretty constant stream of this stuff. Like, it's not like every once in a while we find this stuff. Like, there's a pretty good amount of stuff.
Like the website, like I'm getting it from, this is from like UFO sightings footage.uk.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's something.
And yeah, they've actually done a few stories that have like really piqued my interest. I think we're going to talk about other stuff that I was spinning out about on their website. So like where it's just weird. Like, where is this thing from? Where is it living? What is it doing there? Like, I think, oh, maybe I didn't put it in there. There was also some pictures that went along with all this, and we can talk about it. And I can put it on or just pop it up on the podcast or on the video real quick. But there was like this weird, like dome, like perfect circle with like some weird dome in the middle of it, like a ball almost, and just weird stuff like that, like a weird structure almost, not very far from where this possible alien was.
Right.
And at some point we're gonna do a moon base episode, or just the moon. I've got some stuff going. I just haven't put it all together yet. This was just, I really just wanted to show you the Moon Man, Dennis, and I wanted to talk to you about it.
It looks like a moon man. Again, the most convincing thing to me about this stuff is, unlike, for instance, like the face on Mars, which has never left, and people still debate, like, oh, it's this angle, oh, it's that angle. Like, stuff that just like goes away, that really interests me because nothing should be showing up and going away on the moon. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the whole point of a picture like this. Like,
yeah.
If this was just a famous shadow and people could debate it, that's one thing. But the fact that it's just there one day and gone the next from like official NASA photos is very suspect.
Yeah. Just I don't know what to make of it. It definitely looks like a humanoid figure, though.
I mean, it does.
I mean, it's obviously not a human, but it looks like something like us in some sense.
And if it is like 30 feet tall, like what's that? It's like a giant exoskeleton like walking around, like what's going on there?
That's
like,
what I mean. If it's 150 meters, or if it's 150 meters tall or whatever, like that one guy's saying. Like, that's crazy.
Yes, very interesting. Also, I noticed on the zoom out picture, the one that's like less convincing because it's zoomed out, which is always going to be less convincing.
Yeah.
Every shadow in that picture is facing toward the viewer. It's facing down, except for that image. Everything cast its shadow down. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Except for that object. That object is cast up. See what I'm saying? Like it's cast. You can't see with every single other shadow. You can see a rock. And then below it, it's obvious that the sun is coming in from the top of the photo.
Yeah.
but with that one thing, the
Yeah,
humanoid,
it's
there's
taller
there's
than.
there's nothing. There's nothing casting that would be casting a shadow, unlike
Yeah,
the other rocks. Yeah.
yeah, you're right. That's a good observation on that. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced that's something out there moving around on the moon.
It's easy how fast we get to these things. 40 episodes in, baby. There's things on the moon. I mean, I'm not gonna doubt it. You know what I mean? Like I mean I self doubt, but like
I don't
that
feel like we've ever like put anything out that like we don't think that. I've definitely thought that the entire time during the show.
oh yeah.
We just haven't talked about it yet. Like I said, I've got a moon group of research that I'm doing. There's so much.
It's the combination that it's casting its own shadow the way that every other shadow's going. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's the only object. It's very spooky, man.
Well, I think I might be able to make it spookier on this special Thanksgiving episode.
It's the potluck episode.
That's
Which
true.
is
I should have said that at the beginning. Yeah, that's basically what this is, the potluck. Uh, so this next one I want to talk about is actually from earlier this month, November 3rd, 2020. And this is coming to us from NASA's actual website. Images from their SOHO satellite. That's the thing that stares at the sun. A long black UFO shot out of the Earth's sun on November 3rd and got caught on the NASA SOHO sun satellite images. The object is big, at least 10 times the size of Earth. The sun in this picture is the white circle at the center. Similar UFOs have been reported like this. This particular one, its front is wide, but its neck is thin and its back is very, very wide in comparison to it. And I got pictures of it for you, Dennis.
yeah, it looks like a craft.
It looks like something from Star Wars. It looks like the Rebel blockade runner. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Like with the thing that a New Hope starts out with, that's getting chased by the Star Destroyer.
Well, this is yeah, it does.
It really does.
It doesn't look like a like if a Muamua is weird because it was longer than it is, rocky. This is very weird. This
Yeah,
looks like a ship.
yeah. It's hard to think that that looks like anything else. And I have several images like zooming out here. And again, these are from the Soho. Like the
Think
I should have put that at the beginning. The Solar and Heliospheric Observatory spacecraft.
think about what it'd be. It's 10 times the size of Earth.
Yeah,
So this is not like a weird asteroid. Like that's a planet.
yeah.
That's a craft or a planet.
And it moves away from the sun. Like it's not moving towards the sun, which you would think the sun would suck it into to gravity being that close.
This is one of the things that got us into this back when we did
Yep.
another podcast is we started looking at photos or videos that people would take who like observers of the sun, and there are craft and objects that get right up next to the sun and they're ginormous.
Oh, we're about to talk about several of them.
Okay, all right, yeah. This is one of the spookiest things because it would just go to show you like how advanced whatever these people would have to be. They'd be the point where they're sucking energy off the sun or something, but they're riding in spaceships that's 10 times our planet. It's crazy.
Well, there's a lot of different theories, and I started getting into some of the theories behind what people think is going on here. Because again, there are a lot of images from Soho of things moving around the sun, moving in and out of the sun, like that shouldn't be happening. Like the sun should be destroying these things if it's just space debris or something.
Right.
So are these pictures proof that aliens are using one theory, okay, is that this is proof that aliens are using the interior of our sun, making a hollow space for a space station and small planets to exist inside the sun. This is part of the hollow moon theory.
There's a hollow sun theory now.
Apparently.
Okay.
This is and a lot of these quotes are getting ready to come from this guy, Scott C. Waring, who does a bunch of research into stuff like this.
Oh yeah, we've used him on the news when we've done it before.
Have we? Okay,
Yeah.
that's why it sounded so
He's
familiar.
UFOsightings.com.
Yes,
And he is diligent.
he does seem to be extremely diligent and seems like a very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
So it's also believed a UFO the size of Jupiter had crashed into the sun at one point. Bizarre images also captured by the Soho spacecraft, which is I haven't mentioned, but it's jointly run by NASA and the European Space Agency. And they appear to show this object hovering close to the surface, which I don't think it crashed based on what we could see. Russian website pravadu.ru described the UFO as being made up of a transparent group of rings. And this is the one I think, unless it has appeared multiple times, because the more I started looking into, there's so many different dates on some of these. I think this might have been the one we talked about on the old show, and that it's happened multiple times, or something very similar, the size of Jupiter, has done this.
And if I remember, it's extremely symmetrical. It's like it's not just an object. It's
No,
like
it was like a rectangle. I'm going to show you a picture of it.
Okay.
It's like a rectangle with like two like domes at the end of each of it. Like it looks like it doesn't look like a natural. It looks like it's like symmetrical. Like all the shapes are the same. Like there's no way this naturally occurred.
It's some sort of hyper advanced technology.
Something made this.
Imagine how many worlds you would have to destroy to be able to make something like that.
I know, right?
You would have to just like wipe out a planet. Like you couldn't just, even if you just wiped out Earth, it'd be enough for like one of your domes. That kind of scares me, man.
It's very scary. While many believe the ship collided by accident, other alien hunters believe the object is actually an extraterrestrial ship using the sun to refuel, which is what I thought. And you just scroll down, I think you'll recognize this picture.
Oh, yes. Oh, very strange. Yeah.
It's like circles, basically, like, and with a like also a circle-ish in the middle, but it's like a square piece, like connecting everything with what look like poles on each end of it. So like I said, the object is said to be approximately the size of Jupiter, and that's according to another video uploaded by Paranormal Crucible. When the huge object crashed into the sun, a bright flash of light was generated, although scientists have not offered any explanation for this phenomenon. And the one we looked at before, you could see it get in really close to the sun and then shoot out at the other. It came in on the top left corner.
Right.
Came into the center of the sun to the point where you almost lost it, and then exited towards bottom right, like away from the sun, like it changed direction. What we're talking about here is like the same craft. It looks like the one we looked at, but they think this one crashed into the sun, actually, like it didn't come back out.
What the sun, like a portal? Like what?
We're going to get to some theories. I just want to tell you about a few different ones first. So, at the end of last year, which I think I actually should have rephrased myself. This is in the last couple of years, though. I apologize, I didn't put the date in there. NASA images circulated online, which conspiracy theorists believe showed alien spacecraft gathering close to the surface of the sun and are sucking solar power away. The pictures seem to show a white spot which is joined towards the sun's surface with a connected line. One YouTuber, StreetCap1, asked the question, is this a massive UFO feeding off the energy of the sun, as he uploaded the video footage. Again, Scott C. Waring got involved. Again, he runs UFO sightings daily and added his thoughts on the images too. He said, this is definitely a UFO shot out of the sun. It may have been using the sun's energy to fuel itself or to recharge in some way, but it's leaving at high speeds. He also pointed out that the UFO is a somewhat glowing white, but the sun's plasma is yellow. He added this will imply that the craft is made from a different material that is resistant from the sun's surface. I think I forgot to drop a photo of that one in here for you. But yeah,
Well,
it's essentially as I just described it. Everybody watching on YouTube will get to see it. But yeah, it's like it's a different color than everything else than the sun and what's coming from the sun to this object.
and what is NASA? They have no explanation.
They don't say anything about it.
They just don't talk about it.
Yep, they don't talk about it.
That's curious.
In another story, and we're gonna keep going on this. So if you got more to say about stuff with the sun, don't worry. We're not jumping.
Okay.
We're not jumping subjects yet. I want to tell you about a different one though. This one is bigger than Earth, and it was flying past the sun earlier this year in 2020. Dennis,
They're coming. Of course,
Um,
that kind of ship, you couldn't even get it near Earth because you'd like ruin our like gravity.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
That's my big question with these ships that are like the size of Jupiter. Like, wouldn't we be able to like measure like Mercury or some other smaller object that's like maybe it wouldn't affect the sun in a measurable way, but if an object the size of Jupiter got near the sun, I assume, unless it's coming in at some angle, it would have to be near like Mercury and Venus. You know what
Well,
I'm saying? Like, and then it might affect their paths in some way, in a way that
well,
we
yeah.
might.
That's the whole theory behind Nibiru.
But I just wonder, like, if we have been able, if anyone's been able to measure that, like, especially with Mercury. And but then again, I know that we're talking about like 3D space, so like there might be a way to come in, you know. But it feels like if you like Jupiter's so big that like literally I believe that Jupiter is a big reason why we don't get as many asteroids coming towards Earth, even though it's like heck of far away from us, right? So like
Yeah,
it feels like if something was that big close to the sun, then it would like affect at least the smaller planets, you know, if not us. I don't know. But I feel like that's a way that should be something someone should look into.
yeah. I mean, that's a good thought. I hadn't even really thought about how that might be affecting something like Mercury, right?
So who knows? I don't know. But then again, they might have some angle, like they're coming in from like the top of the sun or something. Like I don't know. Like,
Well, and that's the thing. A lot of those videos, they are coming from the top of the sun and exit towards the bottom. They don't seem to move side to side to and from the sun. Like they do seem to go up and down.
I'm such a caveman though. Like I don't know how we're going around the sun. I just know that we all affect each other. Yeah, so that's very interesting.
Well, no, we are on the level of if we're on a certain level with the sun, like yeah, it's coming from above us. What would be above us?
Okay, right.
You're right, up. It would still be up,
It would still be up. Okay,
and they go down below us.
that must be an explanation. Like they're coming in, they're popping in from some other.
Yeah, if you're oriented with us, with the Earth and the Sun and the other planets, they're coming from above us and leaving below us a lot of the time. There's not a lot of.
Okay, which
There's
might
not
show that they
things-
know they don't want to mess with things, right? Yeah.
That's exactly what I think that shows. Is they're aware of it. That's why I kind of wonder what's up with. At some point, we're going to do like a full episode on Nibiru too. I think I'm saying that right. That's the planet, right?
That's Planet X.
Yeah, Planet X. I'm like, I really
Yeah.
hope I'm saying that right. It's one of those words I think if you say it too many times, you start questioning yourself a little bit. But yeah, I wonder if that was the one that they did it with. It screwed a lot of stuff up, and they're like, "Oh, we can't do that. We gotta." That's where the up and down came from. They gotta go way up and over before they can like leave the solar system.
I don't even know how to do an international flight path. I'm guessing the aliens haven't figured out. Like,
No, I feel like you understand it. Like that's the basics of it. Yeah,
you gotta come up and down. You gotta fly like above our solar system.
Well, you gotta be far enough away that the gravity isn't going to affect us anymore. Like you got to get out of that whatever that gravitational realm is. Because everything has a gravitational realm to it.
Well, there is. Our solar system is in a bubble.
Yeah.
We have an area where, and I believe they say that if you try to get outside that bubble, there's actually some sort of like wall of energy or something. I don't know. We'll do a whole other show on that.
Yeah, that could be a whole other show. I figured this was going to end up being just a weird discovery episode that then leads to weird follow-ups later on. But I did want to talk about these humongous UFOs. So this one that came out earlier this year in June of 2020 was a UFO bigger than Earth. The development came weeks after a camera at the International Space Station spotted an unknown cone-like object that was flying upward, Dennis.
There we go. All right. I'm on your trail, aliens.
I was letting that pay off for you. You were right with the upward, and yeah.
Thank you. And I do not review these show notes. I always let Patrick surprise me. So.
Like for real, it does seem like there's something to going up and down, and to not mess up gravitation and the way things are probably spinning around the sun. If you exited through the side, even if there was nothing there, it's still going to put some sort of a wake.
That's weird that there even is an up and down. Like, why should there be an up and down? It makes sense, though. I mean, us and the moon have the same up and down.
Well, it's space. So, faces. Well, you're right. That it is relative. Maybe it would be called something different, depending on how you were orientating yourself. There is no real up and down in space. You're right. Again, back to you're confusing yourself by what should just be that's your orientation.
Oh no, I know. I'm just saying. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead.
So, NASA's stereo observation mission has spotted what fans of conspiracy theories said is a gigantic UFO flying past the sun. The incident itself occurred on February 29th of 2020, but the footage was posted in June, like I said, on a channel called the Hidden Underbelly 2.0, dedicated to mysterious events and sightings. According to the host, Stereo's cameras filmed the humongous object for 4 seconds, after which it turned off and began working only after the UFO passed. So they shut this camera down.
Classic. That happens all the time with those NASA videos. They always turn off when something anomalous happens.
Yep. And I'm like, really? It's a malfunction every time, huh? Okay. So the huge object appears to be bigger than Mercury, Venus, and the Earth. You can tell this thing doesn't look like our space station. No way. It doesn't look like any satellite that I've seen. To be honest, when I first saw the footage, I thought Ezekiel's wheel. It's very similar, the circle with a cross in it, the host of the show said. So, as we haven't really gotten into it, but this is a reference to the book of Ezekiel in the Bible, where the prophet spoke about a flying chariot, which he described as a wheel in the middle of another wheel. NASA has not issued any kind of response to any of this. So that's another one of a humongous planet-sized craft that sounds biblical.
Planet-sized craft makes sense, though, because if you're going to travel that distance,
bring the whole civilization.
You're right. You might as well. I mean,
bring everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we're already talking about colonizing Mars.
That's what I mean. Like, it goes farther from there. Like, you send people farther out, and you can procreate on the ship, and then as you find places, you can send squads down essentially to take over that planet.
Yeah, it's like an artificial planet.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, maybe there's a planet. This is just sci-fi-ish, but maybe there is a planet inside of that craft, and they built a craft around their planet to protect it, and they're out in search of a new home world.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That's what I would do with Earth if the sun ever started to explode. I'd be like, get everything you can. We're making Earth a spaceship, and we're going. We'll power, instead of the sun, we'll build a giant, like how people, flat Earth people think there's a dome and the sun. You could build that solar system. You could build the Earth-centric solar system as a machine and exist inside of it and float around.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to be inside the planet for sure. You're gonna have to, because without the sun, it's gonna get really cold really fast.
No, what I'm saying though is if you build something 10 times the size of Earth, you could surround Earth And you could
Uh,
have an artificial sun that comes up like a fusion reactor, and you could have like a fake moon, and you could just have our existence in this thing 10 times the size of Earth, and you could be living in the thing the ancients thought we lived in, but it could be real, but we built it. That could be what these are. They could be planets that have lost their suns, and they're just like they need to fuel up every once in a while with a real sun to keep living in their little bubble.
you know what? I'm not against this theory actually at all. Like,
That could be why they taught us, like I mean, Anunnaki and stuff. That's what they could have been teaching us about their ship. They could have been like, the sun comes up, and here we are in the center. You would be in the center of the universe, of your own little universe.
yeah, you would be kind of
Yep.
weird. Weird. That, you know what? I hadn't even thought about that as a possibility for what these things are. I just thought spaceship and like a civilization. So I hadn't thought about it maybe encapsulating something.
Oh, and think about all the power that the Earth has, like inner core and stuff. You could use that to power the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Along with, yeah, these are planets, my friend. These are planets.
They very well may be. So to go into some theories on what's going on with these UFOs and the sun, one I think that you and me are pretty simpatico on is that aliens are harvesting energy from the sun.
Sounds
So
like it.
this was claimed multiple times. The weird thing was it seemed that it popped up a lot in 2016, 2017. And then this one that we just talked about from this year was like the first one recently where people are really paying attention to this. But yeah, so this was a different one that got posted on YouTube, again by StreetCap1. And okay, so this one I have pictures of. And it's again from the Soho, where if you look at it and you can see that picture, it's different shape than everything else. This looks more like almost a pyramid upside down or something.
It looks like a top to me.
Or a top. Which is just
again, it looks like something straight out of Star Wars. I mean,
yeah.
It doesn't.
And this is one that actually shot out of the sun back in 2016. So it got observed leaving. Wasn't there, then all of a sudden this thing's leaving the sun. And Street Captain said the UFO may have been using the sun's energy to fuel itself or to recharge in some way, but it's leaving at a high speed. Notice that the UFO is glowing white, but the sun's plasma is yellow. This tells us the craft is made from a different material from the sun's surface. So another one where it just seems like a different material thing that's, again, taking this like trail of energy. Like, I don't know if you remember that video. I couldn't find that video that we'd watched years ago that actually showed the Jupiter-sized one fly up and like drain the sun and then like take off again. But there's been like multiple ones. Like there was, I'll include this picture. This looks almost like a satellite or something.
Yeah,
it's like a rectangle with like a potato shape in the middle of it.
Yeah, it looks like a satellite with solar panels.
Like there's another one that looks like an upside down angel.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like it literally looks like big wings, like outspanded, like again oriented like us, upside down, heading towards the sun, I would think.
Why are they all using our sun? There's like a billion suns, man. We need this sun. Stop stealing stuff from our sun.
Well, here's the thing. They might be happening on all those suns. In a blog on Waring's website, UFO Sightings Daily, it was the title of the article was "Hundreds of Giant UFOs Orbiting Their Sun. NASA Soho Images Confirm." So that's where all these different images are coming from. These are all ones that have been doing it recently in the last few years. He claims
we are the shady gas station.
We really are. So he wrote, while looking over some Soho images, I decided to enlarge some of the UFOs in the photos. Now, please know the UFOs in each photo are different because the sun is rotating, and there are a lot of moon size and Earth size UFOs around our sun. Back around 10 years ago, two Russian scientists announced that they had found hundreds of UFOs orbiting Earth's sun at any given moment in time, and that these UFOs can increase and decrease speed for no reason at all, and that they can make sudden right turns at speeds that should be impossible, especially for a moon-sized UFO.
Yeah. So this is stuff that NASA probably won't even say, "Oh, it's a camera trick." They're just gonna ignore every letter you send.
Yeah, well, they do some of that too. We're about to get to how what might be some of NASA's reaction in this.
Okay.
Now, Warren goes on to ask if these are unmanned giant drones sent to get energy for planets far away, and he says, I would say yes, but they don't have to be unmanned if their technology can protect them from the incredible heat. So he thinks these are things harvesting and then taking them back somewhere else.
Well, I don't know. I have to disagree with Warren. Not disagree, because who knows? But
Yeah.
like, obviously, the technology, whether it's manned or unmanned, is protected enough that it can get right next to a sun and not disintegrate. So who's to say? You know what I mean? Like, who's to say what level of protection they have? Like, obviously, it's not frying.
The
Even if it's
ship.
unmanned, yeah, it's not frying its ability to maneuver and do things. So, like,
Yeah.
at that point, I mean, it could be totally manned, it could be unmanned. Like, there's no reason to say it would be or wouldn't be.
Yeah. So while Warren may be taking giant leaps from the anomalies in the image to his theory, it is one which is widely shared by some UFO and alien conspiracy theorists. Meanwhile, skeptics claim because the telescope is at such a massive zoom, they are just out of focus anomalies appearing to give such shapes in the final image. Skeptics claim the objects around the sun seen in these pictures are just coronal mass ejections from the sun, which are unusually large releases of plasma and magnetic field from the solar corona, which often follows solar flares.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that's at least an explanation.
Yeah,
Um, why do they look like objects though? I've seen a solar flare.
that's what I mean. That was my biggest problem with the skeptic view of it. It's like, yeah, but there's a lot of times there's not a whole lot even going on with the sun around them. Like nothing seems to connect like that to where it's something discharged from the sun. It's just and hundreds of them all it's too much for it to just be all weird anomalies, just camera tricks.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, that's so they say that it's basically something associated with solar flare, which makes sense because solar flares can be huge.
Yeah.
So that would explain like the planet size of these things, but
Yeah.
but they don't look like solar flares. They look like their own objects. Okay, I don't know. Let's keep going, I guess. Yeah.
Well, our next one is one that NASA may have interacted with. This is also from 2016, back in May of that year. A black square slapped on a NASA image of the sun was deliberately added by the USA Space Agency to hide the existence of a UFO that was inadvertently caught on camera, um, as it has been sensationally claimed or whatever.
Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, that black square, that perfect square must be.
Yeah, the alleged
What?
the alleged cover-up began after pictures taken by the Soho telescope featured a strange black square. After being published by NASA, they were then reproduced by UFO websites. Discussions among alien hunters quickly moved to conspiracy theory. Suggestions included the black cube being a bizarre giant UFO itself, actually, which would be bigger than Earth, or it has been added to the image afterwards to obscure whatever was behind it. Back to Scott C. Waring, who weighed in on this as well. The cube has been seen before off and on, which I've actually seen different images of cubes like this around the sun as well. Sometimes it's seen in 3 dimensions, and other times it's like this in just two. Mr. Waring said he made the astonishing discovery on May 2nd, 2016, while looking at Soho images. He claimed in his blog the cube had been spotted on a few other pictures sent back from the satellite. In a 2011 image, a similar black box appeared in a picture apparently floating around the sun's the top area of the sun. Again, at the top.
At the top of the sun.
It was alleged at the time it was another cover-up attempt. One YouTuber debating the theory posted, more and more people on Earth see the mysterious phenomena in the sky, as well as unidentified flying objects. Governments of all countries withhold information from their citizens and put pressure on witnesses and the media. This resource was created to promote the free flow of information on UFOs and paranormal phenomena by bypassing the ban and censorship of the government. People need to know the truth. NASA denies any cover-up, but will generally not comment on individual anomalies due to the high number of claims being made and to avoid stoking the fire. Skeptics claim the black squares are a camera fault and are just added when the pictures such as these have been digitally stitched together, as they have been known to appear on the NASA images of Mars and other planets, and even in Google Earth satellite imagery.
Okay. All right.
But then again, Dennis, later in 2016, in December of that year, another cube showed up at the sun.
Why are there these cubes at the sun? Why
This
don't they just doesn't NASA have artists who fill in things so the public can see them? Like, why?
You would think they do that.
They do that. That's something they definitely do with like satellite photos and stuff. Why aren't they doing it with these cubes?
Well,
why
I
wouldn't you
think
just fill it in with what you?
Well, I don't know if you know this. You can get on the SOHO telescope and on NASA's site and look at the sun at any time. Like, is that's
Oh,
what?
really?
Yes, you can just get on and look at this stuff.
I'm just gonna be staring at the sun for
Like,
the next.
all those satellites and stuff, the International Space Station, you can watch those feeds. That's how people catch this stuff. It's because they just have it playing and recording, I think, and they've got a copy of it before NASA can scrub whatever happened.
And I've just been out in my front yard with the binoculars, looking at the sun,
It,
like my forefathers before me.
that's right. I mean, you're blind now, but it was worth it.
What? No, that's deaf. Yeah, no, yeah, no, that's really cool. I'm gonna have to check that out. I didn't realize that.
So, like I said, our next one is in December of 2016. It got posted on YouTube, another video of the live stream from Soho, or a video from that stream. This one really looks like a more. It got described as a Borg cube. I'm just get right to it. It got described as a Borg cube.
A Borg cube. That's why I chose my background this week.
Yeah, if you look at that picture, like the enhanced one, like this weird how it like seems to be something to that. So it was an enormous cube-shaped UFO. It was spotted near the sun on December 22nd, 2016 by a YouTube user. In the photo, again released by Soho, a cube the size of Earth can be seen hovering near the star that gives us warmth. Again, Scott Waring weighed in on this one, and the object in the photos appears to reflect sunlight and therefore must be a solid object. You scroll down.
It does, yeah. It reflects. Yeah, you can see it in the black and white one. Yeah.
Yes, it's reflecting. It's reflecting light. He says, quote, "Did you notice the light extending out from the sun and around the cube? The light is going out further than other places around the sun. This means the light is reflecting off the dark surface of the UFO, and the UFO is getting hit by the sun's heat. If this object is indeed a physical UFO, it definitely has a vested interest in our sun. Many UFO experts believe aliens could harness the power of our star and transform it into energy they could use. Some even speculate that the sun's immersed power output could be manipulated into tearing the space-time around it, opening up a wormhole for aliens to use. The precise geometric form of the enigmatic presence could be enough to suspect it has an artificial origin, but that origin could be more prosaic than you think. NASA maintains that it is an image artifact, the results of cameras recalibrating themselves. This explanation fails to convince UFO hunters who are determined to get the truth out one way or the other. They claim that this UFO was photographed dozens of times in the past few years, a testament to the persistent presence of advanced aliens in our solar system. So, this is either a glitch that happens a lot, or there's some weird cube things flying around the sun. Because, like I said, I've seen it multiple times. I've shown it to you multiple times. And for some reason in 2016, there was a lot of the cube ones popping up. But I know, and I should have grabbed them. I had a hard time tracking down. I hope I saved them from when we looked into this years ago. But the videos of different things flying into the sun and flying back out, aside from that Jupiter-sized one, and then draining stuff. Like there was a lot of videos a few years ago. That I didn't come across any debunking on really any of them, other than it's a camera glitch, which is the lamest excuse I think you could give.
The cube, if I'm playing devil's advocate here, the camera glitch cube makes more sense to me as a like plausible explanation than for the other ones that aren't shaped like cubes.
Yeah, I mean, out of all of them, yes, the cube would be the easiest to feel that way with.
Because like a missing pixel or like a straight up geometric shape.
Yeah.
I could see that. It is weird though that it never seems to be like perpendicular with the photo.
Yeah.
Like it never, if you have a photo, you think the cube that's missing would be like within one of these grids, right? But it's always like random places.
Yeah. So it'll move.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
So
I don't trust you, NASA.
I know, right?
Tell us about the cubes.
I'm gonna bring it home with one that comes from one of my favorite UFO trackers, Secure Team 10. He's who covered this back in 2015. I have since not been able to find the video that I'm about to talk about anywhere. Like I've looked for it. If anybody can find it, that'd be awesome. Like, because I would love to see more of this. But has a couple witnesses that he interviewed about a strange sighting that happened in Texas. So back in 2015, 2 El Paso residents reported seeing a UFO in the form of a black cube. According to Secure Team 10, who posted the video on it, the cube was seen midday on June 29th in 2015. Oh, and where this information, this got reported on local media. Like the Houston Chronicle was talking about this.
Right.
And this report on June 29th, 2015, was reported by 2 separate people. A man who was leaving his office about 1 p.m. for lunch said it began to get very windy, and he noticed that the center of some swirling clouds became jet black. Just as the man snapped the photo, a massive cube-shaped UFO appeared, jetting out of this wormhole-type manifestation. As this is how the guys like in the video is describing it. I am personally at a loss for words because this thing is mind-blowing, he continued. Not only do we not know what it is it a craft or is it an entity from another dimension? Is it a probe sent here from a higher intelligence in another galaxy? A woman who works as an accountant at an El Paso office also reported seeing the cube, which she described as sinister. And she did a phone interview about it. So you can look at some of these pictures here, Dennis, and we can talk about it in a little bit. And I read some stuff about the way the clouds are actually formed around it. This would be extremely hard to fake these photos. Like if it was somebody trying to CGI this.
Without like being like a CGI master.
Yeah, like you'd have to be really, really, really good to make this look the way it looked. So you can see it like where it starts to emerge from the clouds and then it fully comes out of the clouds. And then whatever it was moving through, like there's no real hole in the clouds. It's just like it's there all of a sudden.
What did it do?
Well, if you keep scrolling, you can. He gets. We have one good zoomed in shot, and then one of it still like when it first starts to appear in the clouds.
Did it do anything though, or like how did it leave?
It went out of view towards the Earth. So the woman who worked as an accountant at an El Paso office, like I said, reported it. She said it stopped me in my tracks completely. I remember a magnetic humming sound that emanated from this thing. It was really scary. But Fletcher Gray, the head investigator for the Mutual UFO Network, said he believes the video is a computer generated image. If you blow up the thing, you can see too many pixels, Gray said. Someone is playing a practical joke. Which I figured I'd throw in the skeptic point of view on it. But again, there were other arguments that basically pointed towards if this is CGI, it's extremely good.
It's very good. This is the problem with UFO sighting. This is why, at this point, I almost don't trust a UFO sighting unless it's the military or the government, which is so ironic.
Yeah, it really is.
Because it's like technology is so good. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at these photos and like, it does look like something out of a sci-fi movie. It's hard to believe this.
I only included it because because of the cube photos from the sun.
No, right? No, I got you. And then maybe
because it does look like a similar, not that that would be the same thing, but like a similar, much smaller version.
Right. No, I got you. Yeah. No, what gets me is that there's two witnesses. I wonder if there's any other.
There were only two that I could find that at least came forward and said anything about this. And again, the video about it that Secure Team did, I couldn't find anymore. And I could only find stills where other people were talking about it. I didn't find anything other than a handful of skeptics, again, pointing to CGI, but very small details like the too many pixels thing. And I don't know. I really feel like
it's worth a go. No, it's worth a look for sure. Yeah, I wish I could find the original video. Oh man, I'm sorry that
I looked. I looked for a little while hoping to find it so we could watch it, and so I could put it up. But yeah, I got the pictures. They'll obviously be on the YouTube and Facebook feed. But yeah, no, it's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. Wow. Well, oh my gosh.
That is my hodgepodge I put together for my birthday this week.
That is your birthday / Thanksgiving
hodgepodge.
Potluck. Do whatever you want. Well, it was entertaining. Good. I'll give you that. It was a good. I mean, sometimes we all talk about how we go 1,000 different directions. I'm sure sometimes both of us are gonna have episodes where it's just like, guess what? I went 1,000 different directions, and I thought it was entertaining. I loved it, man.
Good.
I loved going through this with you. I had just as much fun with this as I did any other thing you've brought.
I mean, I've been wanting to talk about the planet-sized UFOs, but again, I'm like, I've had a hard time trying to figure out how to really tie all that together, and really, because there's not much more color to paint on any of them than that. Really, we don't have anything more than those images, really.
Well, yeah, but it sounds like it's just like the sheer number of sightings people are having. Like,
yeah.
So what I'm hearing is like, if it's a square, it's a photographic error. If it's not a square, but it's amazingly symmetrical and you can see it moving around, it's something to do with solar flares. I just don't.
The one of the Jupiter one that like flies into the sun and flies back out the bottom. I'm like, how did a sun flare do that? I mean, I don't know everything about solar flares, but that doesn't seem like a thing that happens where it spits it out and then it comes back towards it and then it spits it back out the other side. It like yo-yos it.
Well, the pill shape or the rectangular one that we're going to have photos of with the two domes, that you can't tell me that exists in nature.
Oh,
you know what I mean? You don't see when you go to the ocean, you don't see a cube, like a wave doesn't create like a perfect cube. Like Just
Well,
perfection like that doesn't exist in nature.
no, I mean, when have you ever seen a comet or an asteroid that had like a bunch of shape to it? You know, it looks like
Or
a
any hard angles. They're all glowy circles.
no, they're rocks when you get up close.
No, what I'm saying is like you never see like a perfect square or a
Oh well, yeah,
triangle
no,
or
that's
multiple. It's that perfection of angles
yeah,
that you just the normal human who's not going to listen to whatever NASA says like that's not natural. I don't care if it's a wave or a solar wave or an asteroid, like it's not natural. And I'll point people back to Oumuamua. They said that asteroid was too long. Like they said, there's still people at Harvard and MIT that say that's not natural. It has to be some kind of probe
yeah,
because it's too long. And like we're looking at stuff that's like multi-angular, perfect shapes, and
and the
it's
size of
like
Jupiter.
yeah, it's like there's no way something's going on with that. I don't know what I don't know. I have my theory about planets and planets, but that's just my fun
I did
theory.
like your planets and planets theory.
Planets and planets.
I did
When
like
we
that.
interview an alien, we'll get to the bottom of it. And if you
Sure.
are an alien, please email us because
Yes,
we'd love
please
to
reach
interview
out.
you.
I mean, send an email. Don't do some weird like telepathy stuff. Don't just show up at my house. Like
Oh no.
let's
What have I
coordinate it.
done?
Let's coordinate a time. Like let's look at each other's, schedules and figure out what's convenient for both of us.
I just invited us to be abducted. I'm sorry.
No, you invited you to be abducted. I set boundaries.
Boundaries, aliens, boundaries.
That's right.
And definitely keep your Jupiter-sized spaceship away from Earth because we
No
have like
kidding. Yeah,
tidal waves that we got to take care of. Oh my gosh. Well, no, I really enjoyed this, man. This was fun. It was like I never knew what was next. So I appreciate it. And happy birthday,
thank you.
of course.
It was fun.
Good job, Hermano.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Like, rate, subscribe, tell your friends, write us a comment. All of it, we appreciate it. And we will be back next week with Dennis hosting. So we'll see what Dennis has to bring next week. And yeah, so that's it. Love you, Dennis.
Love you too. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.